Today I'm going to be telling you 24 different players you should not prioritize for game week 4. By the way, I'm not saying that you should not play them at all. You should be putting them on lineups that you don't really care about or like daily pickup. That's perfect. The next person we're going to be talking about is Denny Avila. I just think his cap at 45 is way too high, but don't get me wrong, last season he was going crazy. He was one of my favorite players that I was keeping an eye on, and I actually happen to have him as like one of my first 10 cards I ever won. But his cap at 45 right now is just not good because the Trailblazers are actually a deeper team this season. But he's still good to get like 40 points here and there. It's just once his cap gets down to like 35, then I would start playing him. Next we have Josh Giddey. I think he's a great player as well. He had an amazing season last year, but his cap is at 45 right now, and he hasn't even beaten that once this season. And from what my understanding, I haven't really gotten to watch the Bulls, but looking at the stat sheet, I think it's because of Trey Jones taking a lot of his assists. Once Giddey drops down to like 40 or 35 cap, I would definitely start to play him and risk him to, be able to get a really good game, possibly even a triple-double. Next, we have Jimmy Butler at a 41 cap. That is just way too high. I believe he was a 35 cap to start the season, so that's why I was kind of high on him. But now that he's at a 40-plus cap, I just think it's way too risky to play him. There's definitely better options at 41 cap. Last two games, he got 24 and 25 server points. I'm not too high on him. I would probably put him on like a third string lineup or something. Next player we have is Joel Embiid at 39 cap. It's unbelievable that he used to be an MVP option. Nowadays, he's not really getting a lot of minutes, and I think they're being much more safer about his knee, making sure he's good for the playoffs. So Joel Embiid overall, I'm not even gonna get his card unless I get it from a reward, or just it would just have to be a really good thing to start him. But I don't see myself starting him at all this season. Next person we got is OG Anunoby. I think his cap at 37 is way too high because some of the Knicks players are hurt, but they're just now coming back. He's still a great defender. It's just I don't think he's a good option. There's a lot of better options at 37 cap with much higher ceiling. Next person we got is Shaden Sharp. We're gonna see a couple of Trailblazers on here because their caps are so high from last season. Shaden Sharp is definitely taking a big L this year. He hasn't even broken 40 cap at all, but he hasn't even broken his actual cap right now. He hasn't broken 37 server points at all this season. But I assume after a couple of weeks, his L10 is going to go down to at least 30 minimum. And his projections for the next few games is 33, 33, 31. So I would definitely stay away from him for now until his cap drops to 30 to 32-ish. Next person we got is Trey Jones, who I mentioned earlier. I think he's taking assist away from Josh Giddey. He's at a 36 cap, and that's a little high in my opinion. Maybe he's going to be a breakout player this year. I could be mistaken. I'm willing to take accountability if I'm wrong. So far this year, he has 30 server points, 31, 41, and 42. If he can keep up the 40 plus production, then obviously I would play him, but that's just a little risky because we don't know what he's going to be like throughout the season. Next person we have is Aaron Gordon. His cap is at 35. He's an amazing player, don't get me wrong, but that 50-point game is definitely hurting his cap a lot. He got 71 server points, and just 2 games after that, he only got 13. Aaron Gordon is a player who is somewhat consistent, but I think he's mostly inconsistent, but he's good for 30. I think his cap is only good whenever it's like 25 to 30 cap. So 35 is just a little too high for my liking. Next player we have is Quentin Grimes. I believe his cap was also shot up because of last season. He's really good. He looks amazing this year. I actually watched the 76ers and Grizzlies game last night, and he looked amazing. Or was it Magic? 76ers and Magic game. I apologize. But now that Tyrese Maxey is healthy, you got VJ Edgecombe taking a lot of opportunities. You got Joel Embiid coming back. You're going to have Paul George coming back. Quentin Grimes is somebody I'm not going to be playing a lot at all this year unless some circumstances happen. His cap is at 35. He's only beaten that once, and in his other 3 games, it was 15, 23, and 34. I think Quentin Grimes is only a good value play if he's at like 20 cap to 25 cap. Next person we have is Kyle Filipowski. I hope I said that right, and if I didn't, I do apologize. His cap is at 34. I also think his cap is super high because of last season. But now that Lauri Markkanen and the Utah Jazz are looking much better this year, I don't think he's getting as much opportunity. As you can tell, his highest server point game this year is 25 server points, and he only got 25 minutes, so it looks like he's not really getting that many minutes. He's coming off the bench. He's not a good play until he's at like 15 caps, so I would just stay away from him until that time comes. And now we have John Collins. His cap is at 32, which I really think if he was still in the Atlanta Hawks, 32 cap would be good for him, but he's now on the Clippers with, Harden, Kawhi Leonard, you got Zubac, you got Chris Dunn. a much better team, so a lot less server points for him to get. He's also a really good player. His highest server point game this season is 29, and he's only getting under 30 minutes. I'm not a big fan of players who get under 30 minutes who are above 30 cap. If you're above 30 cap, I expect you to be a starter. I expect you to be consistent somewhat. So yeah, I would definitely stay away from John Collins for now. If his cap hits like 25, then I would start to question if I should play him or not. Now we have Bryce Sensible, who I actually think is a good player. It's just 31 cap is just a little too high for me right now, especially with the Utah Jazz being so. I don't know how to explain it. They have too much going on right now. They don't know like who's going to be starting. They don't know who's going to come off the bench. But Bryce Sensible is a really good player. Don't get me wrong, but his last few games have been tough. 4 cap, and he's not even getting 20 minutes. His highest score is 31 this year with 23 minutes. So that's just a player I would only put on like a arena semifinal lineup or a daily pickup lineup where somebody has an injury or something, you know. I just don't think it's a good play at 31 cap at all. I really don't know much about Bryce Sensible, so I do apologize if you guys think he's a good player at 31 cap. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm willing to take accountability, like I said. Anything that I say here, you guys can call me out on because I do want to get my ball knowledge up. I want to make sure I'm talking about what I know is good, and I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about, you know. But that brings us to our next person, Cameron Johnson, who's at 31 cap. He is a good player. It's just he was on the Nets last year, so obviously he was getting all the shots. I do expect him to be good this year alongside Jokic. Like I think he's a great replacement for Michael Porter Jr. He just hasn't been able to showcase that. His highest server point game is 25, and he's still getting minutes. I don't know if he's getting starting minutes though. It looks like he's not. He's only getting 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 33 minutes here. I think he has to prove to himself first, then he'll start to get more minutes. So hopefully, while that happens, his cap is going down. His cap is gonna, from what it looks like, his cap is gonna be like 23-ish or 24. So I would definitely consider him as a value play in a couple of weeks with a 23 cap. As long as he proves himself and he starts to shoot well, this is a really good pickup for the Nuggets, and I'm looking forward to him throughout this season. But right now, he's just not a good pick. Next person we have is Bub Carrington. The Washington Wizards, they're all healthy now. They got a bunch of veterans. They also got somebody who I can't think of right now. But Keyshawn George has been stepping up crazy this year. And I just honestly think there's too much competition for Bub Carrington, you know, to even get minutes. His cap is at 30, and he hasn't beaten that once this year. His first game was 24 caps, second game 18, and then the last one was 19. It looks like he's getting under 30 minutes every single game besides game week 1, and his projections are now 22, 19, 19, 20. So this is definitely a player I would stay away from. If in the future his cap goes down to like 20-ish, I would probably consider him putting him in an arena semifinal lineup or maybe even a daily pickup. Next person we have is Gary Trent Jr. He has a cap of 30, and honestly, man, I just think he's way too inconsistent for my liking. So I would never play him until like a bunch of players are injured and he gets more shot opportunity. But right now he's just not it. He has beaten his cap twice this year, or tied it once. He got 33, 30, and 14. It's just he has to be really on his A game for him to, you know, beat 61 cap. Like the 61 cap he got in the postseason was insane, but I don't think he can replicate that from night to night. So I would stay away from Gary Trent until he's like a 26 or 25 cap. Even then, I would still be risky, or not risk. I would still be scared to start him because I feel like he's gonna sell my lineup from one bag a week, you know. So I would just stay away from him for now. Next, we have Kamara, another Trailblazers player who's cap went up a lot because of last season of injuries and, you know, just getting a lot of minutes. He's an amazing defender, by the way, and I hope he continues to be the player he is. I just don't think his ceiling is as high as other people who have a 30 cap as of now. He did get 16 and 12 server points the last 2 games, and that's just not good enough for me. I need more consistency from him. So if I saw him at like a 25 cap, then I would consider him. But seeing him get 30 to 40 cap is amazing, and I hope he can continue to do well. It looks like his projections are 29 to 30 according to Roto Wire, but that just proves that his projection and his cap is just the same, so it's just not worth it. We want to find guys who have a much higher ceiling than their cap. That's the whole reason of Sorare. Next, we have Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre has a 29 cap. He had an amazing game last night. I just don't think he's consistent like that, though. He's not going to be able to do that night-to-night basis. His very first game this year was at 17 server points and then 29 server points. He does look better than last year, I would say. but him at a 29 cap is just it's just not worth it at all. There's much better options at 29 cap. I know I'm gonna keep saying that. It's just how I explain it to. I should probably start explaining with like analysis and stats. So like he's playing the Washington Wizards and he's projected for 32. I just don't think that's not good enough though. There's much better players like Tyrese Maxey. I'd rather start VJ Edgecombe at 47 cap against the Wizards than Kelly Oubre at 29. That tells you enough. Another 76ers player, we have Adam Bona. He has a 27 cap. That is way too high, and I think that's because of last season, towards the end of the year. He was playing a lot, so his cap went up a lot. As of this year, he only has 1 server point, 8 server points, and 22. 100% stay away from him. I feel like I don't even have to explain myself more, so we're going to go on to the next player. And that brings us to Missy. Missy, he was a good rookie last year. I had him for a couple of game weeks, but he hasn't really shown that he's consistent enough to, continue to keep playing him. His cap is at 27, but I feel like he's always getting 20. As you can see, he's gotten 14 server points and 21 server points. And the Pelicans did draft a new center, Derek Queen, who I honestly think is a better prospect than Missy. So Missy's just a really good backup. He's only good for Arena 75 and daily pickup if you need. I would probably only ever start him if his value is at like 15 and the center was hurt. So it would just have to be a very, very lucky week for him to, be able to prove himself and get a high ceiling score. And my last player for do not prioritize is Bobby Portis. He has a 25 cap, and this year he only has 10 server points, 19 and 15. It just kind of sucks because if Miles Turner wasn't there, then Bobby Portis would definitely be stepping up and getting a lot of minutes. But now that Miles Turner is there and Giannis is, popping off, Bobby Portis is coming off the bench and he's not able to provide as much as he did last year. But however, if Miles Turner does get hurt, then I would consider Bobby Portis. Even at a 25 cap, I would consider him. But if Giannis and Miles Turner are both hurt, 100% start Bobby Portis. Um, just right now, I would not start him. The only time I would ever start him if his cap was like 20, maybe 15. As of now, his L10, his cap is about to be 20. So yeah, I would just keep an eye on him maybe in like a couple of game weeks or if Giannis gets injured or Miles Turner gets injured. I hope you all enjoy this video. I'm going to be doing this as much as possible for each game week. And if you guys are new, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you guys haven't not checked into Sorare, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite fantasy apps of all time, and I think it has an amazing future. So go ahead and click the link in my description or even in the description of this video and check it out, man. I think Sorare is just something that a lot of sports fans are missing out on. So I hope you all enjoy the video and have a good day.